From the depths of the many ponds and marshes scattered across the Adirondacks, there emerges a prehistoric-looking creature that only shows itself once a year.
With a dinosaur-like tail, a rough, dark, leathery-colored shell, and a massive body, the common snapping turtle is unmistakable in appearance, and it's powerful, too. This aquatic reptile is able to clamp down on any object placed too near its head, with enough force to snap a sizable twig in two, or sever a finger from a person's hand, instilling fear in some people and a healthy respect in others.
Throughout the Adirondacks, the snapping turtle is quite common in our many freshwater ponds, marshes, and slow-moving rivers. The turtle likes shallow aquatic settings where the current is minimal and the bottom is coated with a rich deposit of muck. Yet, despite its abundance, you'll often only see the snapping turtle during the early morning in the weeks prior to Independence Day. It is during this brief period that the female ventures onto dry land to lay her eggs.
In the Adirondacks, one reason we don't see the snapping turtle as often as its relatives is because the snapper seems more tolerant of our cold climate and cool waters. One distant relative, the painted turtle, regularly pulls itself from the water in order to bask in the sun throughout the spring. By exposing its cold-blooded body to the warmth of the surrounding air and the direct rays of the sun, the painted turtle can elevate its internal temperature. This facilitates the breakdown of food within its digestive system. The snapping turtle, however, seldom pulls its entire body from the water in order to raise its body temperature. On a sunny day after the ice goes out, the snapping turtle may move into shallow, warmer water. It sits with its back shell partly exposed to the air, but it rarely leaves the water completely at this point in the spring. Because the snapping turtle is nocturnal, it's quite content to spend the day absorbing the sun's infrared rays as they pass through the water. The large size of this turtle enables it to retain the heat acquired in this process. After dark, the snapping turtle prowls for food and also engages in breeding activities. Little is known about this turtle's reproductive behavior in the wilds. However, it is believed that the snapping turtle can mate at almost any time of the year when there's no ice. Yet, regardless of when a female mates, egg development within her does not progress until the spring. Around the summer solstice in the Adirondacks, the turtle's eggs finally reach the stage when they're ready to be expelled from her body. Despite spending most of her life in water, the female searches out a dry location to bury these white ping-pong ball-sized eggs. She looks for an open area where there is a mixture of sand and gravel. Once the female snapping turtle has found this nest site, she digs a hole 4 to 7 inches deep with her hind legs and deposits the several dozen leathery shelled eggs into the depression. She then covers them up with a shallow layer of soil. Because the last eggs laid may be only an inch from the surface, they're often detected by the keen nose of a raccoon, skunk, fox, or coyote. The sight of ripped open shells scattered around a sandy hole during the early summer is fairly common near a marsh or pond and indicates someone's got a hefty meal of turtle eggs. In the Adirondacks, the snapping turtle strongly prefers a nest site where sun bakes the soil for a majority of the day. During sunny, warm summers, it takes the eggs nearly 3 full months to hatch. During exceptionally cool summers, the eggs may not hatch until later the following spring. Despite the ground freezing around them, the snapping turtle embryos can remain alive throughout this bleak period. The soil temperature around the eggs not only determines the length of time needed for them to hatch, but also determines the sex of the offspring. Researchers discovered that a consistently warm or consistently cool soil temperature leads to the formation of females. Temperatures that fall within a middle range produce males. Fickle weather patterns can impact wildlife in many ways, and they directly affect the gender of the yearly additions to the snapping turtle population here in the Adirondacks.
Wait a minute. I thought sex was determined by an XXXY chromosome.
It is in humans, but not in all forms of animal life. Some creatures, like the snapping turtle, have alternate factors that determine whether a hatchling will be a male or a female.
Can a snapping turtle really sever a person's finger?
Definitely. The snapping turtle has a mouth that's adapted for cutting rather than chewing. This makes it easier for it to consume larger critters, even young ducklings. So, if a person places their hand too near its face, the turtle may snap with enough force to slice directly through a small appendage, like a finger.
Would a snapping turtle ever attack someone who is swimming or bite the toes off someone who stepped too close to it in the water?
The chances are that you are not going to swim in an area where the snapping turtles live. These creatures strongly prefer to reside in shallow places where the bottom is covered with a dense layer of muck, not ideal as a swimming site. And even if you decided to wade into the murky waters of a marsh, the snapping turtle isn't at all aggressive when it's in the water. Don't worry. It will swim in the other direction if you happen to get too close to it. Just don't bother one when it's on land.
Okay, it's on. So if you should see one crossing the road, how can you move it to the other side of the road so it won't get hit by a car? You can't pull it by the tail, can you?
No, don't pull it by the tail or try to pick one up by the tail. You can cause some serious spinal problems to the snapping turtle if you exert too much force to its tail. Probably the best approach is to try to prod it along with a lengthy stick. But please don't stand in the middle of the road, as you might end up getting hit by a car.
You can eat snapping turtle, can't you?
Actually, they are supposed to be quite tasty. Why? Are we having one for dinner tonight?
Well, that's all the time we have. And thank you for watching us here on the web.
Thank you again for watching us, and I hope you check back often. And also, I hope you enjoyed nature in the Adirondacks.